Welcome to the Women Tech Council Student Innovator Mentorship Podcast Series. I'm Sarah Jones.
And I'm Sydney Tetro, and we are co-hosts of this show.
This show provides conversations with women mentors who came through STEM pathways and launched successful STEM careers. Hi, everyone. This is Sarah Jones, and I'm excited today to have a friend of mine, Bobbi Alexandrova, on the show today. Bobbi has had a really extensive career in tech companies, mostly in Utah. Bobbi, I'm going to let you introduce yourself for everybody.
Yeah, first, Sarah, thanks for having me here. My name is Bobbi Alexandrova, and I'm currently a director of software development at DOMO. I have been around in the software industry for the last 19 years, working for both small and big companies. I started as a software developer, then I moved into tech lead, then manager, most recently as a director for DOMO. I love technology. My degree is in computer science. I have a master's in computer science, and then I completed also an MBA from the University of Utah. Spare time, I just love first spending time with my family, of course, exploring the world. We travel, we love that, exploring the cultures, different cultures, and different places, as well as I love skiing, of course, and hiking during the summer.
That's great. You have had such an interesting career, and I'm going to make an assumption that you love what you do.
I love what I do, absolutely.
So as you reflect on your career, and you're still really young, you're going to be working for decades, but
thank you.
If you would think about one or two career highlights that you've had so far, I'd love to hear about them, things that you maybe would never have been able to do if you hadn't had a STEM degree.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll just talk about the career in computer science. I think STEM degree really allows us to get the initial knowledge that helps us become successful in our careers. I landed in a computer field because I had the initial knowledge, because I had the academic knowledge that allowed me to do so. Career highlights, I would like to talk more about the transition from a developer into manager and how that happens. I have to say that sometimes for women, breaking from a technical role into a manager role is really hard. And sometimes really opportunity presents itself and allows you to capture it. The key into it is to be brave enough to venture into it when the opportunity presents itself. I can say that for me, it was back at OC Tanner, and the opportunity arrived where they needed a manager over their business intelligence team. I didn't have the background in business intelligence. At that time, I was doing Java, and it was really, really challenging. Just hearing about it did seem a little bit intimidating, but I decided to take a chance, and it opened a lot of doors for me.
I love hearing that example because you just mentioned, I didn't have the background in business intelligence, right? But I took this leap to manage that team. Was it that you actually never have kind of thought of yourself as manager, or did you have to warm up to that idea, or how did you get to the point where you're like, you know what, I probably am going to learn some things on the technical side, but I'm ready to manage. How did you get to that mindset?
So during the course of my career, I've been taking a lot of leadership roles. I've been a tech lead before, and before that I was managing the development team at OC Tanner. But to me, the opportunity of managing a BI team was a whole new level because of the technical difficulties associated with it, and just not having the technical background. For me, the opening that scope, or the way Sheryl Sandberg calls it, jungle gymming, per se, really landed well and allowed and opened the door for some other opportunities. So really, I think sometimes our careers are not ladders. They're pathways that kind of go around, and we shouldn't be afraid of exploring them.
Well, and I love that story because that was how many years ago, and you're now in a company that specializes in business intelligence.
Exactly, yeah.
And I would suspect that that opportunity that you had years and years ago gave you a really solid foundation for the roles that you have now.
Absolutely. DOMO is a big part of DOMO is business intelligence. And I have to say that opportunity that I took years and years ago did position me well for the opportunity and the job I hold right now.
That's such a great insight. So other career highlights that jump to mind?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to talk about way back then.
Yeah.
That was in year 2000. A long time ago, when I transitioned from doing just some really visual development into Java. At that time, Java was in its infancy. Very few people really coded in Java. And I got into a position, into a job opportunity, which allowed me to explore this new language. At that time, it was very challenging. First, not a lot of people knew it. And then second, it was much more difficult than what I was doing before, Delphi and some of the Visual Basic. To me, it's, again, taking an opportunity, taking a chance into something you don't really have the background, but having the curiosity and the urge to learn, having this learning mindset.
Yeah.
And as we know, Java is everywhere now.
It is. Well, I want to dive just a little bit deeper into your story. Who was it that introduced you to Java?
It was actually this company that I started with.
Okay.
Way back.
So they said, "Hey, you're doing great in these areas, but we'd love for you to tackle Java."
It happened slightly differently, where I actually accepted the new job. The new job required Java, and because at that time nobody knew Java, they were recruiting people from various paths of software development to come and learn Java and be part of these huge projects.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and that's about the time that my husband's company switched over to Java.
Yeah.
So he started learning it too, and then they went and rebuilt their whole platform in Java. So yes, the timing-wise is about the same. I'm going to ask you a question that I actually, didn't give you beforehand, but I'm curious what advice you have. I talk to a lot of people who are in these dev boot camps. Right. Yeah. And they're learning web development. And for some reason, for me, at least my observation is they're not making that leap into software development, right? Which would mean Java, some of the object-oriented languages. What advice would you have for them? And why do you think it is that they're not making that leap or understanding the leap of going from web development to software development?
Sarah, this is a really interesting question. I have mixed feelings about the boot camps. First, I think that they're an amazing platform for people to transition into software development. They really give you this rapid knowledge, and they do it in a very practical way. However, this very practical way has its limitations. I've interviewed a lot of people coming from boot camps, and they're very good into this box that the boot camps allow them to create for themselves. This box of knowledge. So I have to say, there are some success stories, and the boot camps really allows you to get a feel of what a software development is and give you some of the frameworks. But what's happening is after then, it's entirely up to the individual. So I think that a lot of people place too much trust into the boot camp, thinking that that's where it stops. But I would say this is just the building block. This is really where it starts. Everything after then is really what you do to propel your career. So I would say it depends on the individual and depends drastically.
Yeah. It's almost like, okay, great. So you've learned the alphabet.
Exactly.
You know, like,
you have the foundation.
Okay, great.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
How do we build a house from here?
Yeah. Well, you know, and I've been fascinated with it because there's actually a lot of women going into boot camps. But what's interesting is the women aren't getting a first job out of that where they can actually start growing their careers. And so it's something that I've been sort of looking into and trying to figure out, like, what's going on, because it seems to be, you know, it's a great pathway, right, to start people on if they're not going to go to a 4-year college. We certainly need that tech talent in the state and in the nation. But I've just sort of wondered, since I've got an expert sitting in front of me, I wanted to ask, what do you think is going on? So thank you for that insight. So let's switch gears just a little bit. You know, you have an incredibly busy life, and thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and speak with us. And DOMO's growing at a very rapid pace, and you also have a life on top of that. So what does integrating work and life for you look like? You know, just what advice do you have for other people listening in who are also wanting to have a cool career and also just a cool life in general?
Yeah, so I would first like to say it's difficult. It's important for people to know that it's challenging, it is difficult going into it. It's important to just set the right expectations, because setting the right expectations is the first step into creating this work-life balance. Now, I would say the most important things is understanding the individual needs and the individual priorities, because in a way there's really no one-size-fits-all type of remedy here. It depends on the individual needs in the individual situation, and also it depends a lot on the type of partnership you have. I'm very, very happy to have a supportive husband with the ability to do what's necessary to keep this work-life balance. So I would say a key is to understand what the limitations, the conditions are, and try to work with what you have. Just to give you an example, I know that in my day-to-day work-day life, I don't have the ability to pick my kids up from school. That's a limitation. We all know it. So we worked it out as my husband picks up the kids and I drop them off. That's our solution to it. It's, for me, also, I have a very, very long commute. I live down in the avenues, and DOMO is in American Fork.
Wow. Yep. That's
That's another challenge.
Yep.
A whole new level. And it's actually very realistic. We cannot all expect that our jobs would be conveniently located to where we live. Most likely there will be some kind of a commute. And for me, it's I arrange some of my meetings to be on the phone. That's what I do. I also use the time to expand my knowledge. I have Audible and I listen to books. That's how I spend my time. And then I do whatever I can. I just take these little opportunities whenever I see an opportunity to spend some time with my family. I take it because I know that I see it in a way where I take the time to spend with my family when I have it.
Right.
Sometimes it may not exist when I need it.
Yeah. But when you get that time, be present and just value that time.
And just value that time, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you know, everything's relative. I know some people in Silicon Valley that would just die to have the commute that you have. So, you know, everything's relative. I'm going to ask you another question that I didn't quite prepare you for, but given your trajectory of, you know, computer science into management, into leadership, I know you love your job right now. So
I love my job.
Of course you do. That's a given. But what is your dream job? I mean, you've had enough exposure now to kind of see what's out there. What's your dream job?
So I can tell you, I love working with smart people, and I love creating killer product. So to me, it is really expanding on that and building on that. And if I have to build up my dream job maybe 5-10 years from now, it would probably be building products on a larger scale, maybe managing bigger teams, having a bigger impact on organizations.
That's great. Okay, so one last wrap-up question for the women in STEM that are listening, especially those that are in their degrees. What advice would you leave with them?
So my advice would be to be brave and never pass on an opportunity, thinking that you're not equipped to handle it. This learning mindset, this can-do mindset, is extremely important because opportunities open in every career. The chances are there will be opportunities. It is about really jumping on this opportunity, taking it, being brave, and doing whatever possible to be successful there.
That's great. And thank you. And of course, your career is an example of that. So thanks so much for your time on being on this show, Bobbi. I appreciate your time and the example that you're setting for all of our women in STEM.
Oh, thanks, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Women Tech Council Student Innovators Mentorship podcast series. Go to www.womentechcouncil.org for more info and subscribe to our iTunes channel for access to our ongoing series.